What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And here we are with another reaction. And this one, we have 7 things I love about being back in the UK. Before we dive into these 7 things, if you guys happen to enjoy it, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's get to it.
Hi, I hope you had a wonderful day. Mac here. And listen, if you don't know anything about me, my family and I, we live here in the UK. We've been here for right at 5 years, but we just came back from a 30-day tour of the United States, especially across the American South. And I have 7 things that I'm really glad to be coming back to here that I'm really liking about this environment that I want to talk about. And the first one, of course, is environmental. It's outside. It's right now. It's the weather.
Yeah.
It is so much cooler here in the summer than it is in the United States. And I know if you're British and you haven't been to the U.S. in the summer, you may not believe me, but we were there during a heat wave in Washington, D.C. The average temperature during several days got up to around 30 and maybe over 30 degrees Celsius. I mean, it was hot. It was so smoldering, burning, melting hot. It changed our entire plans for what we planned to do on the trip because it was just so hot. I've been living over here in these cooler temperatures and I wasn't used to it. When we went down to South Carolina, we went out to the beach, hot. Even on the water, it was hot. In Arkansas, hot and dry. Texas, hot and dry. And it was just a hot time there.
Yeah.
And it's been warm here, but in general, it's just much cooler. Across the continental U.S. in the summertime, the temperatures average between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius. We're going to stay in Celsius. But here in the UK, the average across the UK is about 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. In general, it's cooler. I find it to be cooler. And coming back from heat waves in the United States in the middle of the summer in August, it's cooler. Even coming back here and knowing that this is in August, a hotter time of year, I still find it to be much cooler than the time that I had back in the US. Now, what is unusual is I'm looking up and there is not a cloud in the sky. And it's absolutely magnificent. Listen, I'm gonna give you a little tip here. If you don't know this,
Talk to me.
the UK in the summer is beautiful. I want to say it's lush and it's green, but it's been dry, so it's not that lush right now. But it is beautiful. The days are endless. Because of the higher latitude, you know, the days are longer, and you get these long evenings. You can go out for walks. I'm just telling you, it is so much better to be here in the summertime. It is absolutely beautiful. So that's one of the things that I've enjoyed coming back to the UK. I've enjoyed the more milder climates and the better weather. We're going to have to finish this video on the move. I had to go pick up some things.
I feel like I definitely understand that. Y'all see why we got air conditioning everywhere now. Y'all understand we out here facing heat waves, hot, dry heat, that you just go down to the mailbox and you come back to the house and you're dehydrated. You got to chug a whole bottle of water for that. But I will say, I did grow up in Texas, so my body is kind of just used to that heat. Like, I was an outside kid. Like, I love being outside, and so my body just used to like that heat. So even in like days where it's over 100, like, hey, I want to go out. Like, I got a basketball goal. As soon as I run to the house, I want to go outside and play. Like, I just love it. But it is draining.
Before dinner, but it'll tie into this video as we move around. So one of the things that also caught my attention, if you watch my videos from my travels in the US, well, you know we're not going to get pulled over by the cops over here. I did a whole video on that, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. I covered it in 2 other videos. Go check those out on the channel, but I did want to highlight it. In general, I find the UK to be a much less stressful environment. I talked about it just a moment ago as I was driving down, but I really enjoy being here, especially in the part of the country I live in. I don't live in an urban area. There's some towns and cities nearby, but there are a lot of great parks, and I can get out into nature really easily. Some wonderful forests around me as well. And there are a couple places that are urban, but still very covered in nature, so to speak. This is one of these spots where you can get out here and see a bit of wildlife. And I really enjoy coming down here for a quick walk, even if I only have a few minutes. But I enjoy the safety of the United Kingdom and definitely the reduced stress.
I get that. I get
I don't
that
think
for
I've ever seen
sure.
anyone swim in these canals before. I didn't even know that that was a thing you could do. I guess if you're comfortable swimming with the ducks and fish, why not? Now I'm tying safety and stress together because to me they go hand in hand. When you feel safe, you're less stressed, and when you're not safe, you feel more stressed. That's pretty common. If I lived in London and I walked down the street with my cell phone out, it would not be surprising if I go home without a cell phone. We know London has a problem with that, people snatching phones and things. So I'm not trying to say that this country is completely without any form of stress. That is not at all the problem. And I'm not saying that it's not completely 100% safe. No
Yeah.
place is safe. You would have to be in a
No.
box by yourself to be completely safe. And even
Like,
then, is that safe?
no.
So you definitely have to
No.
still be aware.
No.
But for me, I find this environment to be much more pleasant and much less
I get that.
stressful, and therefore also find it to be much more safe. I may go home without a cell phone for walking around in the streets of London if I have my phone out, but I go home, I'm less likely to run the risk of just being caught up in some random shootout or something along that line. Just look at the news back in the US and you'll get an understanding of what I'm talking about. Now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at one of the UK's most aggressive and notoriously dangerous animals, and that is the swan. And that is such a wonderful statement to be able to make because the UK in general doesn't have a lot of dangerous animals. Before I took my kids back to the United States, we had to have multiple conversations about everything that could potentially hurt them in the natural environment. I had to tell them to watch out for fire ants. I had to tell them to watch out for
Yeah.
wasps, which there are wasps
Yeah.
here, but they're much more aggressive, I find, in the US.
Okay.
Fire ants, wasps, of course, bees are consistent, right? But also rattlesnakes, water
Yeah.
moccasins,
Yeah.
cottonmouths. I think cottonmouth is a type of rattlesnake. Alligators we had to be concerned about. I had to make sure my kids didn't get close to any water. We had to watch out for bears because we were in bear territory as well while we were there. Like the US can be really dangerous when it comes
Yeah.
to just wildlife. And of course, while we were swimming, there were multiple shark attacks on the beach. I think there were three the same week, the same couple, within a week of time span of when we were there. I'm not sure how common shark attacks are here in the UK. I'll have to look into that. But shark attacks were the least of my concern. I was much more concerned about the kids stepping into a fire ant nest and
Yeah.
just getting caught up in
Yeah.
fire ants. And those things can be absolutely miserable if you get them all over you. They'll be on you before you know it. And they're much more aggressive, I find, than the ants here in the
Oh
UK.
yeah. Oh yeah. Fire ants are one of the more aggressive. I mean, they ain't no bullet ants, but they one of the more aggressive ants. And I think that's pretty dope. Just the fact that the UK like breed like it's so much more stress free for him. Like in the US, it is stressful. I can't even lie to you, bro. Just I be surviving like the cost of living, like that be stressing me out. But just going out and about, I guess it doesn't really stress me out. Like I don't ever worry that something's gonna happen to me. And my wife hates when I say that because she's like, "You're gonna jinx yourself." But I don't like. I don't worry about things like that happening. If it happens, I'll have to deal with it. But I don't worry about it before it happens in a sense. But yeah, when he talks about the dangerous animals, yeah, there's a ton more here in the US. I mean, it's a much bigger country, but definitely a ton more dangerous animals. Definitely much more stressful in terms of safety. You kind of got to keep your guard up and worry. I mean, comparatively, I'm assuming I've never been to the UK, but I'm sure if I look at the statistics, even percentage wise, the US is definitely gonna just be higher, bro. So you gotta be on your guard for safety. You gotta. I'm sure people from Europe, bro, they see the food in the U.S. and they hear people talk about coming over and eating and they like, dang, when I went to the U.S., bro, I got sick. Like the food, like it's just filled with all these things. So I guess that's something else you got to stress about. But and then yeah, has just completely different, similar cultures in certain categories, but completely different in others.
I also had to warn my kids about porcupines and armadillos and raccoons. Never touch a baby raccoon. That is so dangerous for you. for you.
My dad just we were raised anything with teeth can bite. It wasn't like specifically pointing out each animal watcher. Anything with teeth can bite. They may tell you it's the nicest, but if it got teeth, it's capable of biting. So you get your guard up.
And if you see an armadillo, don't touch it because they carry, well, sometimes they carry leprosy. So there are some really nasty things potentially running around in the U.S. and they're cute and cuddly from a distance, but there's a lot more of that there than it is here.
I feel that.
Sometimes I come to this park just to sit down for a few minutes and relax. Even if I only have
I
5 to
feel
10
that.
minutes to just watch the swans, I find that to be very pleasant and relaxing.
That
I have
sounds
enjoyed getting back to British grocery stores and shopping centers for a couple reasons.
From Marks and Spencer's.
That's not to say that the United States doesn't have some pretty good grocery stores. There's Wegmans and Whole Foods, Trader Joe's even. There's a couple of really great places there. But what I find in general is that the food here has a fresher taste, especially
that.
when you're talking about the pastries and when you get to the fruits and
I feel
vegetables. The
that.
ingredients here just seem to be fresher and they seem to spoil quite quickly if you don't eat them really fast. They don't stay shelf stable for extremely long times.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the fruit here, and especially the pineapples. The pineapples are so small. In the U.S., the pineapples are, 2 to 3 times larger than this, and I just love these little pineapples. But they don't go very far as feeding the kids. I have to get several of them to feed all the kids. I love the raspberries. My twins love the raspberries much more than I do, and I really like them. But the thing is, these raspberries were picked for flavor. They're tasty, they're delicious, they're juicy. They're not picked necessarily to be shelf stable. In the United States,
I
they
get
focus
that.
around
Yeah.
shelf stable, things you sit on the shelf for a long time, to
Yeah.
include fresh fruits and vegetables. But here, these only last a couple of days, but they taste delicious. One of the things that the UK does so much better than the US is cheese. While I was in the US, I had a lot of different cheeses and they were bland to the extreme. They were bland. Now I understand that there's some pretty good cheese to be found in the United States. I'm not saying that there isn't, but all the cheese that you come across in normal, just day-to-day life is disgusting. But this, Stilton Blue, some of this other cheese here, absolutely magnificent. So I was really got to get back to the UK to get to the fresh foods and get to the fresh cheese as well. Fresh is a relative term,
Yeah,
considering that
I'm trying to try UK cheese. See what that UK cheese like. Yeah. Cause yeah, I just never like been like I love cheese on a lot of stuff, but like just cheese by itself, like I never just ate that. But the way y'all eat, y'all can eat it like that. I guess cheese is that good, so I don't know.
cheese is a product of fermentation, so fresh, not necessarily fresh, but you understand what I'm saying.
Coffee. But yeah, I'd say groceries, food wise. Yeah, I think a lot of the companies do try to make things shelf stability last on the shelf for a long time in terms of increasing profit. Because the faster it spoils, if it's not being purchased right, like you're losing money. And so they try to make things as shelf stable as possible to make it last as long as possible to give it the best chance of being sold at more money. I mean, in the U.S., basically everything here comes down to money. Like every decision about everything, the you're gonna find the root was money. That's just how it is.
I've missed Costa. There's some great coffee shops in the United States. I mean, Starbucks is good. Starbucks is here as well, so you can get that. That's comparable. But the Costa flavors, I couldn't get that in the U.S., so I was glad to get back to this one. Now, people say Costa's not strong enough. There's another coffee shop here that I really like. It's a chain. It's called Black Sheep. I really like Black Sheep as well. So Costa and Black Sheep, those are my two favorite coffee shops here in the UK. I find the flavors to be richer and fuller. I think that they aren't concerned as much about just adding a lot of sugar. A lot of the flavors that we got in the U.S., we got coffee, it was just drenched in different syrups. It was way too sweet, way too much sugar. Here, the flavor of the coffee still sings through. You can taste the beans. It's not drenched out with a lot of
I get
artificial
that.
stuff. So I'm glad to get back to what I find to be a really great coffee flavor. Now, I know the UK is known for tea and not necessarily coffee. The coffee here is great. The tea is better. It's not even comparable to the type of tea that you get in the United States. Now,
Nah,
don't take that the
nah.
wrong way. I mean that from the standpoint of the United States doesn't have any tea that can come close to comparing to the tea that's available here in the UK. I drink a lot of tea here as well. That's something I picked up while living here. You know,
Yeah.
a nice Earl Grey to start my day off, that's the right way to start a day. But tea really isn't a thing besides Lipton's. But while we were in the United States, we
Yeah.
did go to, in South Carolina, the Charleston Tea Garden, and they make tea there, and their tea was pretty good. I was surprised. There was fresh tea. It was made right there in the United States. It was really great tea. I think it's the only place in the U.S. that produces tea.
Oh
So the
wow.
coffee and the tea, though, that's something I really miss and really glad to get back to here.
Yeah, I've heard about UK like having absolute great coffee. I've seen videos where there have been people that wasn't really feeling the cost of coffee. They didn't enjoy it, but they always when they didn't enjoy that, they always found somewhere great to get a coffee in the UK. And when it comes to tea, I mean, is anywhere comparable to Britain when it comes to tea? I it's, it's what you're known for. Maybe you in India. I don't know, but yeah, it's nobody's really gonna beat Britain at tea. Yeah,
It's really cool to be back to hear the British accents. But I will tell you,
I feel that.
I don't hear the British accents, and I've said this before, as much as I used to. When we first moved over here, I could hear
Mm,
them every day, all day long, the difference in accents. But now I have to listen hard, and I think it's probably just because the area that I live in, I've just gotten used to talking to people here, and I don't hear it anymore. I've gone tone deaf to the British accent. I don't think I have a British accent, but I've gone tone deaf to the sound of British accents, and I've gone very much alive to the sound of the American twang. I hear that American twang even on people who don't live in the South. I hear that American twang now. When I hear them talking, that's how they, just how everyone started to sound like me. I hear that now, and I didn't hear that before I moved over here. I definitely hear it now, though,
that's
and it's
funny.
really funny. And you
That
can't
is
convince
funny.
Americans that they sound like that. They don't know, but
Nah, we don't.
but they do.
We don't know. Do that. Like when y'all listen to me, do y'all hear an accent or? And if you do hear an accent, I can't say how does it sound because you guys can't tell me how it sounds like in the comment. Like I don't know, but yeah, I mean, of course, I don't know that I have an accent. Um, and so when people tell you like I have an accent, I'm like, oh really? So talk to me. What do you guys think?
To me, anyways. But yeah, I do enjoy a bit of British accent. I love it.
Yeah,
Sounds good
everybody loves the British
when I can
accent.
hear it. It is. And so, one of the last things I like to highlight about being back here in the UK that I'm really excited about is proximity. And that is, the UK is nice. It's a country. It's compact, right? And
Mhm.
I'm saying it as someone who lives in the U.S. And if you think about it, you could drive from one end of the United Kingdom to the other, and you could go from Land's End all the way up to the north in right under 15 hours. And when we left Arkansas, we drove all day long, and at the end of about 15 hours, we made it to the end of Tennessee. Like we'd only
Yeah,
cross a state,
yeah.
two states. We crossed out of Arkansas and into Tennessee. We crossed to the other end of Tennessee. And maybe you could go into Virginia, right? So you can make it that far. The United States is outrageously large
Yeah.
as far as countries are concerned. But I love the fact that in an hour and a half, I could be in London. In an hour, I could be
See,
in
that's
Birmingham.
dope.
In 5 hours, I could be in Edinburgh. In 3 hours, I could be in Cardiff. And well, let's see. I could take the ferry over, be in Dublin. Probably about 8 hours, I could be in Dublin. This is all driving too. In about 9, 10 hours driving, I can be in Belfast. And so I love the fact that everything is
Yeah,
compact. It's not so
that is
small
cool.
as to feel claustrophobic, where
Okay,
you're too compressed and you
okay.
don't have enough space to move around. But it's just small enough to where all the things that are really cool are within a day's drive and you can be there. And I really enjoy that. Even when we stayed in Perth and we went up to Loch Ness from Perth, we woke up one day, we left Perth, we went further north up to Inverness, and You could do that in a day. We drove back down to Perth that evening.
That's
I love the
cool.
fact that you could just drive around. This is a very drivable country. If you
Yeah,
enjoy driving, which I do enjoy driving, this is a very drivable country. You can really enjoy yourself getting out onto open road here and just driving along these beautiful country roads and enjoying the views here in England, Wales, Scotland. I have spent a bit of time in Northern Ireland, not as much as I like. I'd love to get back over to Belfast, but I enjoy the fact that everything is more compact and it is closer. And again, I could be in London in an hour and a half, in the second largest city, Birmingham, Manchester, probably about an hour and a half away, maybe 2 hours. In 2 hours, I could be in, and definitely within 2 hours, I could be in Birmingham, I could be in London, or I could be in Manchester, or even
that's
Liverpool.
cool. Yeah,
And it's all just right there. And each one of those cities are also very distinct and unique in style and in culture. In the United States, to get that same separation in style and culture, and you had to go much farther,
yeah,
right? The cities
yeah.
that close together would still be very similar. You
Exactly.
can get a lot of different feels in the US. There's a lot
Yeah,
of different vibes across the US,
for
of
sure.
course.
For
But you could
sure.
get that same thing, that same sentiment, that same feeling so much easier
I get
here,
that.
just kind of in the United Kingdom, just kind of compact. And I love the fact that it's really great for traveling around. So we're looking forward to doing a lot of travel here.
Yeah, I
Oh,
feel like I completely agree. I mean, the U.S. is just insanely gigantic. Um, and so yeah, when you think of travel, I mean, I lived in Texas most of my life. I drive 10 hours for spring break, and I'm still in Texas. I'm still in Texas. So I can imagine even driving from the top of California to the bottom, how long that would take. Like it's insane. Yeah, I live a couple states away from now. I live in Georgia, and so I drive to Texas twice a year to see family, and you're talking about 11 to 12 hours on the road each way. Bro, it's no joke. It is no joke. So, I mean, when you talk about that compactness, I do love the bigness of the U.S., but that compactness of the UK also does sound really amazing in terms of all the places that you can get to. Like you can be, it feels like, sounds like you could be all over the UK like in a day, and that's pretty awesome.
over the rest of the over the rest of the summer, bugs, over the rest of the summer and into the fall and even into the winter. So if you have some great places that you know of, drop that down in the comments and leave a comment for me. And the cool thing is, and I guess it's kind of cool, it's not cool. So I do the YouTube channel and we keep up with all of our travels and it's all
Yeah,
on the YouTube channel. You can go back and see everything we've done, all the wonderful places we've been over the last 4 years here. Because I don't think we were filming the first year we got here. We didn't really film that. But over the last 4 years, you can see it all on the channel. But my kids, the oldest kids, they don't remember some of those earlier trips. Like they don't
I
necessarily
feel that.
remember when we went to Edinburgh and we went to Edinburgh Castle. They don't remember the Giant's Causeway. They don't remember the Cliffs of Moher that's over in Ireland and some other wonderful places that we've gone. So I get to do it again. Also, we had the twins here. We've had two more children since we lived here, and they are only 2 years old. Of course, they don't remember it. They
Oh
they
yeah,
they were in separate pieces when they went around. So
yeah.
we could get to do a lot of those trips over again.
That's so
We get to go back to
cool.
some wonderful places that I've seen before, and I want to enjoy those experiences. It's great for me to go back, but I get to take the kids back to Lindisfarne. We get to go back to Edinburgh. We get to go back to, really, they do remember going to Perth, but there are a lot of great places they don't remember and some wonderful experiences that we'll get to repeat because they just don't remember it because they were young. That's the joy of youth, I guess, as you continue to grow and get older. Our kids were so young when they moved over here, but now they're getting a little older, and then the twins are coming along. So we're going to be out on the road. We're going to be traveling. If you know some great places that we may not have gone or you think would even be great for us to go back to, someone asked me recently, hey, when are you coming back to Lincoln? I'm like, Lincoln, back on the list. We'll definitely be going back. Won't have the Christmas market to go to. We definitely love going to great Christmas markets. We're heading into that season pretty soon. So if you know of a great Christmas market in your area, drop that down in the comments and let me know about that as well. So we're looking forward to having a wonderful time and exploring the United Kingdom here, and I'm glad to be back. If you have any comments, drop that down below. And until next time, take care.
That's so dope. And I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that he's glad that he's back. I hope they had a great time in the U.S. though during that 30 days that they did take and come over here. I hope they absolutely enjoyed it. Um, as you can hear, I know it's not as great as the UK for him, but yeah, you just I hope you had a good time. They're back now, and the UK sounds great. Like I'd love to come in the summer and just feel a little bit more cool. Even though I'm used to the heat, feel a little bit more cool would be nice. But I know I'm gonna come to the UK one day. one day I'm gonna bring my son. And that's one of the things too, right there. I want to wait till he gets a little older, till he knows what's going on, like, and he can understand, like, this is it. He can take in everything in a sense. Just to introduce him to things that I never got to be introduced to as a kid, right? I really thought it was just the U.S. growing up, and everything in the world everywhere in the world did things like they did in the U.S. And I grow up and I do YouTube and I'm looking at all these videos and I see how all these different countries operate, and I'm like, wow, like this is a huge world full of completely different cultures, laws, so many differences, and like I'd love to go out and see all of it. But hopefully I can expose him to that, and that's just one of my goals. That's all we have. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to subscribe, get a video thumbs up, check out the next. I'll see y'all next time.